right. Welcome back to the podcast. We are going to focus on something exciting, which is focusing on our strengths. So we both have I've done multiple at this point, just trying some different ones out. Rachel's finishing up her assessment right now to kind of compare what we get for our results. But this all came into fruition because I do a morning mindset call with my local KW here. I'm on that. And one of the things they had somebody did a class on identifying your strengths and how you can utilize them in business. And I went to that course, and they did Gallup CliftonStrengths training, and she kind of talked through it. And there was some like kind of group, broke off into groups and chatted about different things and all this kind of stuff. It was very interesting. I thought it might be fun just to experiment a little bit with it on the podcast today and talk about the basic principles. So you might have heard a lot of times people talk about being well-rounded and really kind of figuring out like, what are your weak points? And maybe you should focus and work on those. And the idea behind strengths training is flipping that on its ear. It's the total opposite, that they believe you'll have more success when you really identify what your strengths are and you can focus on those. And they believe that it'll be compounded when you're doing something that you naturally excel at. Not just because you're good at it, but also kind of the idea behind it is that you actually enjoy those things. And so you'll just be more eager to do them in the first place. And it kind of ties into the idea of this sort of what drains your energy as well. Some tasks we put off and put off and put off because they're draining for us. Whenever we do them, they're just exhausting. And so these other things that come easily to you, or maybe you're naturally gifted at, or they may just kind of feed your fuel and they kind of light you up. If you can focus on those items and kind of tie them into your business, the idea is that if you utilize them for just about any task, playing by your strengths, you could succeed more, faster, all that kind of stuff. One of the examples that the host, Anna, told us in this course was she helped train a lot of people. And this particular person was in sales, and someone reached out to her, hey, maybe you could help with the strength training for this person. He's not excelling in the sales role. The goal was like to get 32 leads a month was his target, if I'm not mistaken. And he was getting one a month. And she was like,
dang.
She was like, even her in her role, she was kind of like, I'll try, but that's pretty far off. I don't know what I can do. Right. So the interesting thing that they found out when doing his assessment on his strengths was he's not at all a people person.
Oh,
right.
Then why is he in that role?
Right.
Goodness,
and you would think,
that's crazy.
And so that is an interesting thing. So a lot of businesses will use these strength things to identify, like when in hiring processes and stuff like that, they'll identify what their natural strengths are. And they might also use them to weed out like, probably not a good fit for this role. You would think, sales, you might be great to be good with people.
Yeah, you would
but
think.
The interesting part was, I guess he was scored really high on more of the analytical and the follow through on processes and tasks. He excelled at that. So what they did was they found a way to work that into his role so that he was always figured out what his numbers needed to be, and he was always doing them. The plus side of him not being so driven by people liking him and liking that part of it so much, or be a high factor for his success, was that he was not afraid of people not liking him or like rejecting him. So he could just go boom, boom, and move on. So it actually turned into a strength for him that he wasn't as, me, I'm always a little too worried. Do they like me? Well, what if they didn't like me? And that wasn't an issue for him. So I thought that was very interesting. So then he became one of the top salesmen within like 3 months after kind of identifying that and refocusing his strengths into his role. So I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful. I really like that. So I did the test. It's also a great thing for like a team kind of building, if nothing else. If you have a team meeting or something like that, the homework could be to do this test, and then you could chat about some of these strengths and stuff. Part of it is actually communicating it and self-awareness, where you might be strong and what things might drain you more than other things, and just trying to think, maybe what could I do differently? I would say a good example that I've had is I've done the same job in 2 different restaurants as a bartender. In one of them, I excelled, and the other, I failed miserably. I was not good. And I think the difference was the environment. My skills are more of a social skill, and Rach can attest to this. My skills are not multitasking.
What?
So
don't drive with Neal and try to talk to him. It's not fun.
Yeah, no,
It's terrifying.
Like if I'm like doing one thing and somebody tries to tell me something or do something else, I won't even hear it. Like I could watch a TV show, you talk in my ear. I don't even know that happened. The first bartending gig, they're both really nice, fancy restaurants that both steakhouses. The first one, I worked the bar and it was a much quieter scene. At most, I'd have 5, 6 people at the bar. In that environment, I chatted people up. I had time to make a nice drink, a fancy drink, that kind of thing. The second job that I did was a lot more people, much bigger bar. It got crazy busy. People stacked up at the bar and trying to remember 3 orders at once and then put it in the computer. Not my strong suit. I failed in that scenario. I'd be a great bar back in that scenario, but I can't juggle those things and I basically freeze up like a deer in headlights. It's interesting. If you know that, you could identify which bartending role would you be better at, right? They're like, dude, the tractor salesman guys come in here and you chat it up with them like you know about tractors. The lawyers come in here and you can chat it up with them. They're like, it's amazing, Whereas the other place is my last place of employment where I transitioned to a waiter there because it had a smaller section, right? I succeeded in the smaller section as a waiter where I had the rapport and failed as a bartender. I still joke with the bartenders when I see them there. I'll go and doing video work there for them sometimes still. And I'll always joke with Kirsty and be like, Kirsty, you need some help? Maybe I can make some work. And, they're just dying laughing like, because I was the worst person to ever be up there with them. I would like apologize ahead of time. Like, I'm so sorry that I had to cover for somebody tonight. I've been telling them I don't want to bartend anymore, but I have to help you. I'm sorry. Like they would have to apologize. So, but anyway, let's do quickly a couple little stats that I've heard. They're saying that employees who use their strengths every day are nearly 6 times more engaged at their work. Strength-based employees have 8% more productive. And this one I like though. Teams that focus on strengths see up to 23% higher profitability. And then employee turnover drops by 15% when people feel their strengths are used. And teams that receive strengths feedback show 12.5% higher productivity. So what I think it is, I think it can come down to a really good management skill that people kind of feel heard, right? If you're talking about their strengths versus talking about their weaknesses, where do you feel empowered? I think that's a big part of it, right? If you're nitpicking me all day at what I stink at, or if you're going, you know what, you seem to really excel at this. How can we work that into your role more? Or how can we utilize that skill set you have to make you more successful in the role you already do right now? If you need an admin because you found that one of your core strengths is definitely not follow through. If you're one of the people where the core strength is really you get excited about the thing and you're great at putting it in front of people and you're great at getting people excited about the thing, but you're not good at the follow through of the thing, which is how I am, then you need to find somebody who has a high rating on the follow through, the analytical, the organization, and the follow through on tasks. If you find that person to add to your team, they would really balance you out, round you out pretty well.
I've taken a couple of these tests and I love this. Do you want to know what I am?
Oh, yes, I do.
I'm the champion. Woohoo!
Woo!
I love taking these. I think they're a lot of fun. Where you're trying to apply your strengths and where you're forcing to apply your weaknesses. And that's been something like for me, direct sales, doing broker presentations. I enjoy speaking in front of people, but when it comes to the networking afterwards, for me, that's extremely uncomfortable. I just want to leave. Like, I just want to get out of there. I don't want to stay and chit chat. It's really awkward for me unless I know I have someone to talk to. I'm like super insecure for some reason with that.
When we went to PMRE, it was kind of the same thing. I don't mind. I kind of enjoy the challenge of going up to talk to people and trying to get a conversation going. So I dragged.
Grumpy, tired Rachel is like, I want to go to my room now. I'm done.
I was like looking at her, pointing at her like, let's go.
You're coming with me and we're going to have conversations with people. I'm like,
eye contact, fine. Look at me, go. Yeah. And we did it though. You can do it. It's just not like it drains you. That's a perfect point. Like it drains you way more than it drains me. It actually does the opposite. It invigorates
You're more
me,
extroverted.
gives me the energy. Yeah. So my scores on here, extroversion is 105. It's like one of my highest scores, which is I'm the one who wants, if I see the person who's left out, I'm like, go over there like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Which we actually did at PMRE. Remember that? There was one guy, I was like, man, he looks so poor guy. Let's go talk to him. In general, I'll say that top of my stuff, if you look at CliftonStrengths, they have something called woo, which is winning over people, which is you're assertive and you're trying to get their attention.
Is it how other people perceive you?
It is. Here, this was my number 1 in Clifton, which is influencing. People exceptionally talented in woo theme love meeting new people and winning them over. They enjoy socializing and making connections. So that was my strongest strength when I did the Clifton test. And then my second one was called futuristic, which is strategic thinking. People exceptionally talented in futuristic theme vividly imagine the future. They inspire and energize others with their vision of what could be. I do feel like I have a very strong imagination. And then next was communication and influencing. People exceptionally talented in communication theme generally find it easy to put their thoughts into words. They are good conversationalists and presenters. And then my fourth was positivity. People exceptionally talented in positivity theme have contagious enthusiasm. They are naturally upbeat and can energize others. And my last one was ideation, which is people exceptionally talented in the ideation theme are fascinated by ideas. They see connections that others don't and can view the world from a different perspective.
I think that's pretty spot on, Neal.
Yeah.
You think?
I
Were
do.
any of those like
You
were
notice
like,
none of
no?
those were follow through.
Yeah, that's one of my weaknesses.
But I do feel one of
"Ooh."
my biggest strengths is like creativity, imagination, being able to see other people's perspectives. I feel like I'm good at that. The one thing that wasn't on this list that I thought I would have, they had one here called empathy, which I also think is pretty strong, and being able to listen and relate to other people, how other people are feeling, and kind of pick up on emotions that people have. You kind of got a radar for that. I definitely light up when I work with other people. A lot of people don't like to go to a big party. It's just too much for them. It drains them. Me, I'm like, yeah, awesome, exciting. I love being surrounded by people.
So, okay, some of my strengths are strong people skills, exceptional ability to perceive people and situations. They're egalitarian and want to assist others. Their natural people skills stem from their belief that everyone is equal. They have a unique ability to accept everyone just the way they are. Their warmth and enthusiasm draw people to them. Excellent communicators is their ability to listen attentively and tell engaging stories from the heart. They are comfortable speaking with almost anyone and getting them to tell their stories. Equally skilled operator are authors. They're encouraging, persuading, and empowering people. Imaginative and creative. They like to discuss clever ideas and solutions. An unbiased, open mind. They thrive on exploring any creative possibilities. Their unbridled imagination makes them naturals as actors, musicians, and authors. Thrive in places where their creativity is encouraged. You'll see them welcome any innovative idea or experiment just for the sake of creating better art.